Good afternoon. I am JJ Jorgensen. I will say I'd like to start that off by saying, be a Charlie. Everything I say today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I was the Lumpkin County Republican chairman at the time of the convention. I was also a delegate, and I was also the floor leader of the SAA team. And that was nothing that was new to us. This was my fourth state convention and my ninth overall. So I was not new to the back scene workings of the convention. What I saw that day was just appalling. Actually, it was really the whole weekend. But like most others, left with a sense of, as I described to my wife, I felt violated. I felt violated not only physically as an SAA, I felt violated emotionally by the transference of everything that went on, of the breaking of the rules and everything that day. And that leads me to what the convention was. The chairman, let's start with the chairman. I don't believe he was obviously hand selected. Nobody, I didn't know who he was, never seen him before, but he was obviously biased. So, leading into the convention and him starting things out, people were waiting before the real votes and were waiting on the credentials to be done. People are already standing at the microphones, which is a very unusual thing for me. I know there are microphones for people to speak, but these people were there an hour and a half at least ahead of time. And I was actually going by because being on the floor there, and I was walking around a lot because I had the job of shifting days and whatnot on the floor. I was joking with him, going, "My God, you guys must really have something to say." It turned out by the end of it, all they were there for was block of the microphones. And that was very apparent by people that were trying to get up and try and say something, and they would just stand there and not let him. And oh, I got something to say. One young lady even happened to tuck one of the microphones, took it off the stand, and tucked it under her underarm. For what reason, we do not know, but that's just disgusting. One of the things that I saw. So on the floor and going through and trying to facilitate people to their seats and where their county was. A lot of these dignitaries were coming in with their entourages. One of the things that bothered me, I went back to Jacqueline McCoon, and because these people they weren't wearing badges. It's our job to check the badge. You do not get on the floor unless you're wearing a delegate badge. She was passing out VIP badges to people. And it got to the point where she told me herself she ran out of VIP badges. A lot of these VIP badges that were out were not even delegates. They were just, some of them were the young kids, even really, that were with someone that might have been speaking that day or whatever. So here you have all these people, VIP, on the delegate floor. So that led me to think when it came time to pass out the clickers, we got all these people that may be on the floor that don't even belong or not a delegate. And how are the SAAs to know VIP? You don't see delegate. And so that was one of the things that bothered me. The other thing, let's go into the SAA group. Todd Tibbetts, the chairman of the SAA, appointed me to be the deputy of the floor, right, which I had done the year previously. So Friday night before the convention on Saturday, I took my wife back to our Airbnb, and then I went out for a bite to eat because I did not eat dinner that evening. Here I found Todd Tibbetts sitting at a restaurant alone, still in it. And I went up, sat next to him, and some conversation was about the convention and some was not. But the thing that struck me right before he left, he said to me, "McCoon's going to win. He already has the votes." And I was taken aback and said, "How do you know that? You can't know that already. Is there somebody in registration that y'all are communicating with that are silently go, oh, that's a McCoon supporter. That's a David Cross supporter." So very taken aback by my chairman saying something like that. Also that day, and then again the next morning, he kept mentioning using the clickers, I'm like, it's up to the convention, right, to the body, whether we use the clickers or not. They were making it sound like that the clickers were going, and here was the statement that he said, we're going to use the clickers to vote on how we're going to vote. Wait a minute now. Again, this is not the way it should be done. There was also Mr. Bill Consiglio, who was an SAA, who was in charge of passing out clickers and all of that. I actually heard he was part of even doing a test on them and maybe even altering them. Who knows? right? But between the two of them in our room telling the SAAs, it seemed like they were already trying to cram the clickers down our throats. And there were many SAAs that were against even that part of it. Okay. So, morning of the convention, when there's supposed to be a meeting for the SAAs, my chairman is missing. He's AWOL. He's not there. It's Jacqueline McCoon who's running the actual meeting for the SAAs. Again, not my boss, or not who I was supposed to be reporting to. Why is this woman in charge telling all of us what to do? I get she's the wife of somebody running, but that's still, it was a conflict of interest for me. Just the whole day from then on, that morning, of going into the hall, everything that was happening, the chairman surely seemed biased. The speakers that day, one of my own, right? Catherine James from Lumpkin County, who I replaced as chairman, up there and actually just stumped for Josh McCoon. And according to rule number, I think it was 8 or 9, any time that was used to speak for a candidate should have gone towards their 5 minutes. We had person after person come up there stumping for McCoon, and none of that time I still had to listen to 5 minutes of Josh do his thing. So I think there was some rule breaking going on in there as well. Then Katie Frost just blew me away. She's sitting there and actually berating anybody, as she's supposed to be part of the the chair of the nominating committee, and she would berate whoever it was that they didn't, while giving full glory to their candidate of choice. I'm sorry, that's still the body's choice. It's not theirs. It's only a nomination. But boy, they sure made it sound like it was an over and done deal. The other things that come through a lot of the right days doing their job. One of the things that bothered me, some of them, right? Matter of fact, I think we even had two that may not have even been delegates, which I think is against the rules as well. But here you have days that said you must be a delegate to be an SAA, but they've been put in positions, whether it be a back hallway door that they're watching or whatever, that never even got to vote. Because I think there should be some way at a certain time when it's time to vote that everybody or needs to make sure every single delegate is in the room and every single delegate is in a certain place. This venue, with the way the food court, whatever the snack bars, whatever you want to call them, are set up, just made it wide open. Okay. That anybody, whether it been a guest, whether it been an alternate, which all the alternates I think got elevated anyway, so it probably doesn't play in, but guest, a VIP that happened to get one of those passes from Mrs. McCoon, and then lunch. Once they broke for lunch, people went everywhere. They're scattering, they're going to get their boxes or whatever. There was never a full sweep, okay? And this was prior to voting. It was never a full sweep. Should have been my boss's job to go, hey, we need to do a full sweep of the floor to check and make sure they are delegates only before voting proceeded. The other part, rules. Never saw the rules. Where were the rules? We went through hours that morning with no rules. And all of a sudden they want, oh, here's the rules. And they're giving them to the SAA team, right, to pass out, right? As the SAA floor leader, somehow it didn't even get to me. So I went and had to chase somebody down to even get a set of rules for myself. But to get a set of rules for something like this as a convention that's going to happen at the last minute, maybe, I don't know, maybe it was an hour before, really doesn't give you enough time to read them, fully understand, and pick them apart to be able to make changes or whatever is what the body should be able to do. Going forward, if I ever attend another one of these, I believe the rules should be sent to all the delegates at least 24 or 48 hours ahead of time. Because of the complete, what I will call a sham, maybe some partly even say the word insurrection, the way the Frost team, the way the McCoon team, the way Todd Tibbetts, the way the Consiglios all pushed and pushed for the way they wanted things to go. That's why I want to use the word insurrection for this. When I got through with all of it, I decided I just no longer wanted to participate with the Georgia GOP. So I went up and I have since resigned from the chairmanship. And I'm doing this video now because if the orange, what's the word for it? You have the responsibility. I just want to know that you will use it. And so I'm open at any time. I've already sent my letter to Chairman Watley while he was still chairman. My wife hand delivered one while we were in Washington at the Faith and Freedom Coalition. Happened to see him. She gave him hers directly. So we've already got some written things. You'll get another one. And I really hope that you'll take this matter in some serious conditions and in support of all of us delegates that call me grassroots, but we think we deserve it. So that's it.